Hey, what's going on out there, everybody? This is Sammy Leggett here, representing Team JVS, here to give you guys another series non-spoiler review. So do know I will not be talking spoilers in any way, shape, or form about this. I'm talking about HBO Max's Titans Season 4. I had the opportunity to be able to check out the first 5 episodes. We will be trying to do individual episode reviews for each episode, or maybe episode discussions. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. But let's go ahead and kind of break it down. What did I think about this? I love the fact that every single Titan has been moved forward. They've been progressed. They've either got an upgrade, costume changes. They're identifying so much with their comic book counterpart, but at the same exact time, still sticking to, their mold in this as well, whether it's the language, whether it's their personality. Everything seems like, okay, this is still coming from the same exact series. The other thing I really appreciate is that if you never seen season 1 through 3, right? Or maybe you knew about Titans and you kind of just started right here. I think you could start right here, episode 1 of season 4, and go and be like, oh, okay, this is cool. You wouldn't even miss a step, to be honest. I don't know if that's a positive or negative because, most series you're kind of like, oh, okay, the consequences of the previous season lay more foundation to where things are going to go. That there are things in this season, specifically going towards like episode 3, 4, 5, that lay certain weights from what's happened in the past. That's all I can really say. But I think it is pretty interesting. Now, of course, you have new players in this. One of them I can't mention, but there is a character named Sebastian. Sebastian is a very shy man. He's got a lot of things going on, and he's dealing with a lot of depression and concern. He's also played by one of my favorite actors in Joseph Morgan. Joseph Morgan, if you've ever seen, with Vampire Diaries or Originals, he played Klaus Michelson. Sebastian does play a very key person in this series, which is yet to be unfolded just yet. But in the time from episode 1 to 5, I think they did some really good things with him. They make him a very accessible character. I think that this is the weird thing about it. Even though he has scenes that are manic, scenes where it's really emotional, scenes that are just tragic, and also scenes that are also really humbling and interactive with the other characters in this. This is not a lot of good setup for him to be exposed or used. And I'm not sure if that's because, he's such a very deep actor, but there are certain scenes, the transition from somebody communicating something to how he is, not even performing it, but how he's coming across like the importance of what's really happening in that moment. He's there. He's all the way dialed in, but the atmosphere is not set up necessarily for him to allow that to happen. But I think that he is a great addition to where the season is going to be heading. That's all I can really say with too much. The other thing that I really liked about this is where they are handling Connor. Connor in this season, they're doing a lot with him. You're getting an understanding that, we know that Connor is a mix between Superman and Lex Luthor. But what does that mean for him on a psychological level? If you guys have seen, of course, Young Justice, they've kind of played that out, but we've never seen that on a live action format. And I think that they're doing a very good job with this one. I think Joseph Orphan is doing such a good job of trying to figure out who and what he is in this given situation. The other thing I like about it is the fact that Robin is all the way Nightwing now. Like, there's no, second guessing himself. There's no perilous things. It's more so like, okay, how can I be not only a vet and a senior in this situation, but also be able to keep this team together. So let's talk about some negatives, things I didn't like. I think I like the fact that Tim is in this, but it kind of feels like the transition between, season 1 to season 2 with Dick Grayson trying to get him where he needs to go. One of the things that worked with that season 1, Tim, Dick Grayson was very violent. He was going through a lot of different things. Whereas Tim in this one, versus kind of how he is in the comics, like he's really like the Michelangelo of this, which is really weird to say because he's supposed to be the better detective, way more smarter and way more easily accepting to whatever the circumstance is. But a lot of the times with this, it's more so like him kind of dialing it back and him kind of like not getting it. But they do they're setting him up for some very interesting things. And to be fair, like out of everybody, he's not had any kind of training or anything like that. But I think some of the scenes that they do with him, it comes across like really like, I don't know, not he's the baby of the group, but I don't know. It just, to me, it doesn't target the things that make him a really good character from what the comics with translation. They also are doing something very specific with Tim in this that I'm surprised they're going this route, but they're choosing to do it. It is technically comic accurate now, but how do I put it? It is comic accurate and it definitely makes sense, but it feels and comes across almost like it's being pushed. Not forced, but pushed. So it's really weird. It's not jarring, but it is kind of like you catch on to it very quickly. The other thing I don't like is that with the set design for something that's going on with the big bads. I'm not gonna say big bad, the big bads. The set design for it looks a little hokey and a little cheap at times. It's really weird. Like it seems like it was really kind of forced. And I'm not saying it needs to be a CGI explicit thing, but I think to be fair, if I go back to these sets of characters and how they've kind of looked in Batman animated series or even down to Justice League, like it's not much to it. So I'm curious to see where they go with that moving into the rest of the season. But the only other thing that I didn't necessarily like about this was the fact that they did introduce another character that I'm really, if you're a Teen Titans fan, you're going to know this. Even Teen Titans Go fan, like you're going to enjoy this character. But the road to get this character to be acclimated reminds me of how they handled Rose in season 2, and then another character in season 3. And it's just weird because it kind of pushed in and it works, but then sometimes it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But I do like how tonally there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of gore. It's still all the way to Titans that we know. Like they're not holding back certain things. But in certain scenarios, I'm just like, this comes across a little cheesy. But yeah, I have missed Titans. Definitely. Like I really have missed it. And I think there's a lot to look forward to, but I think my fear, and this happens every single season since season 1, is that there's this drop off that happens. Like after the first half of a season, the second half, it drops off. And that's really the biggest fear that I have. And it's weird because the beginning of this season is good. I'm enjoying it. But I've seen other seasons go a lot stronger, a lot harder. But it could be that they're trying to find a good balance. So right now, as it stands, I'm sitting at a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I am hopeful for something pretty good. And yeah. Like the pieces are there. It's just where the follow-through is going to be. So I need to figure out where that's going to go. But we'll talk to you guys soon. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button. Thank you guys so much for watching, even late at night right now. I appreciate you guys. Good night.